Hi, I am so happy to be here today. I am a proud Rockstar alum. I hope that some of you are planning to be at the Rockstar retreat. It is a great experience, and I am really excited today to be able to share some helpful information so that you don't suck at getting unstuck. And nobody wants that, right? So I'm the creator of Three Changes Framework, which is a tool that I've developed over the course of years, helping people move forward as individuals, as parts of a team or a group or an organization. And I really hope that you'll benefit from this, and I know that you can use this to move forward during times of challenge, change, and great opportunity. So yeah, most of us don't like change, and if you ask a group of about 20 people, generally speaking, in any kind of group, you're going to get 70% when you ask them what they think about change. They're going to have a negative response or a negative perception about change. You'll have about 20% who can be neutral, and 10% out of that group is going to say, yeah, I love change. So most people don't really like it. The truth of the matter is we're creatures of habit. We like what we like, the way we like it, and that's the way we want it, and that is it. And if you don't believe me, if you think, hey, now wait a minute, I'm a pretty cool customer, I like change, let me come in and rearrange your kitchen, let me come in and rearrange your bathroom, let me change the way you commute and get to work, and let me remodel your grocery store, and then let me know what kind of a fan of change you are. We are very, very accustomed to doing things the way we like to do them. And when we're asked to change, it really can put us in a stuck place. So there's a little bit of some models and some theories about change that I just want to share with you to help set the tone for what we'll be doing as we take the Make Three Changes framework for a walk in a few minutes. This is a great model for change. It's based on the work of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who has done a lot of work around grief. And essentially, change is letting go of the way things are and moving towards something that you're not sure about. What this tells us is that over time, our acceptance of change increases. But while it's happening, there can be some real dips and some real areas where we can tend to get stuck. We are predictable. We are predictable in the way we respond to change. And of course, it depends on how impacted you are by the change. But generally speaking, we go through a process every time we're asked to switch from doing things one way to doing things another way. And you know, when they say it's not the heat, it's the humidity. Well, in change, it's not the change that gets you, it's the transition. So this is William Bridges' model, and it basically asserts that change essentially begins with an ending. You're going to lose something or let go of something, but something is going to change. And along the way to the new beginning, or the way things will be, the way things are going to be, is this neutral zone. And this is where, depending on the type of change, it can be a short neutral zone, or it could be a very protracted or extended neutral zone. And that is sometimes where people can get into a lot of trouble and stuck. It sort of looks like a sand trap, right, if you're a golfer? So today I want to share with you the Make Three Changes framework, which is a tool that you can use for yourself, for others that you influence, for those that you love, and for those that you lead to move forward during those times of change and challenge in their life. And so first, I want to really put down some foundational keys for getting unstuck. The most powerful tool that you have available to you to get unstuck is your mind. Your mindset, the way you're thinking about opportunities that are presenting themselves. Your mindset is the key. And I'll be sharing two foundational mindsets that will help you anytime you need to get unstuck and move forward. The second, you got to ask more questions. So the really important thing to understand here is that if you want to get clear about where you are, where you want to be, what you need, and what you're willing to do to move forward, you're going to need to ask yourself some really good questions. I'll be sharing my absolute favorite magic question and 9 more that will really help you get unstuck and move forward. So the third key seems like kind of a no-brainer, but I can't tell you how many times I've heard, well, I'll start when. Anybody familiar with that phenomenon? The time to start is now. Not when you have the time, not when you think you're ready, not when conditions are just perfect, but the time to start is now. And that is what we are going to do. So change, there's all kinds of different change. There's personal change, professional change, changes in the environment, changes in our culture, changes all around us. And depending on where we sit in terms of how we feel about change, all of this change swirling around us can really put us into a stressful state of mind. How many of you think that you make great decisions when you're under stress? Probably not too many hands going up out there virtually. When you are in a stressed state, it's very difficult to make good decisions. So it's important to consider your mindset, get those questions answered so that you can begin to make decisions from a place of possibility instead of a place of overwhelm. So let's take that Make 3 Changes framework for a little walk and use some examples that I think might resonate with you. So first, as promised, we're going to be looking at 2 mindset prompts that are going to help get you into the space and into the zone of being able to move forward. And this first one is a non-negotiable. Be curious, not critical. Being curious keeps you open to the possibilities that there is another way for you to experience this change or this situation. Being critical about something says, I already know everything I need to know. I don't need to know anything else, and I'm closed. And frankly, that's not a place where opportunity and possibility can live. So the first thing that I want to encourage you to do is to adopt a curious mindset. The next is a little something I picked up from working at Apple. One of the great joys of my career was to be able to spend a short period of time working for Apple, and their training was amazing. This was one of the things that I walked away with that I continue to use day in and day out, and that is to adopt a mindset of assuming positive intent. I'm almost positive that you didn't get up this morning and say to yourself, I'm going to wreck my day. And I'm pretty sure that most of the people around you who got up this morning didn't say, I'm going straight for that person, and I'm going to try to ruin their day too. So assuming positive intent on your own behalf and on behalf of others goes a long way towards keeping your mind open, your heart open, and keeping you open to the possibility of experiencing change a little differently. And question. This is my favorite. So this was gifted to me by a boss, someone that I used to I often found myself frustrated in the higher education environment and wondered, how can we make things different? What can we do? There's so many things that I saw. And my boss would call me into her office and say, Whitney, tell me, what would it look like if it worked? And the magic of that question still continues to resonate with me today. It's a solution-focused question that makes the answer for her far more enjoyable to listen to than tell me what's wrong. But actually, tell me what you think it would look like if it worked gives you so much more information about how to move forward. And so what would it look like if it worked is a great place to start when you begin to enter the Make 3 Changes framework. So as we take the framework for a walk, let's ask ourselves the question, what would it look like if it worked around the way you start your day? Does that look familiar to anybody? I have grown children now, but there was a time when I had two young children in my home and two working parents and lots of activity first thing in the morning, and it could be a really stressful time. And it sets the tone for not just your day, but everybody's day in the house. And so I thought that we might play with how you start your day as a way to experience the framework that could hopefully be helpful immediately, maybe even starting tomorrow morning for you. So the first questions that you need to get started with moving forward is to identify what are you feeling or experiencing now. And so in this example, it might be that you're feeling tired, rushed, frustrated, angry, a little overwhelmed, a little guilty, unsupported, unprepared, or as a 4-year-old might say, you're grumpy. So once you've identified what you're feeling or experiencing now, the next step is to ask, well, what do I want to feel or experience? And certainly in the morning, I want to feel rested. I want to feel happy. I want to feel prepared. I want to feel like I'm part of a team, not just a lone dictator trying to get these people through the process of the morning. I want to feel relaxed, focused, joy-filled, and I want to feel like I'm ready to have a great day. So the next question I'm going to ask myself then is, okay, if what I'm feeling now is this, and what I want to feel is that, what do I need? More sleep. And also to prepare some the night before. I need a little clarity. I need a little cooperation. I need a system, and I need a better routine. And these are things that I have some control over and that I have identified for myself as a way to be able to change the way we all start our day. The next important question is, all right, if this is where you are and this is where you want to be and this is what you need, what 3 changes are you willing to make in order to move forward by design? So in this example, it might be, well, I guess I'm going to go to bed and get up a little bit earlier. Maybe I'll spend a little bit of time before bed getting ready for the next day. And I'm probably going to need to get my family on board. So that may involve a few extra steps. But you get the idea. It's really getting clear about what 3 changes could I make that would have the most impact on what I need to do in order to have what I want. So the next question then is, what are you willing to do every single day to move forward? Well, I guess if I'm being honest with myself, every single day I'm going to need to get up early, and I'm going to need to have, so that I can have the time that I need to get centered and focused. I'm going to need to make a choice every day to choose joy and assume positive intent. And I'm going to create something fun for the kids every morning so that they can look forward to it. So what are the things that you can do every single day that will move you forward? So now let's go a little deeper. It's not likely that people are just going to roll over and do what you ask, or it's not likely that you're going to be able to make these changes without at least acknowledging the fact that you are probably going to be getting in your own way at some point. So I want to encourage you to say, all right, if that's true, what's likely to get into my way? Is it watching something at 11 o'clock at night on HBO and not getting to bed on time? Is it, what can I do about that? So being really clear about how what obstacles and roadblocks you will throw up in your own way. Second, how will you set yourself up for success? You are the one responsible for how you're going to move these things forward. So what do you need to do in order to be able to make that happen? How are you going to celebrate? So if every morning typically you're running out of the house and people are late and there's all kinds of chaos, if you turn that around, how can you celebrate that together? How will you celebrate the the changes that that's brought about? How will you celebrate that together? How will you celebrate that individually? Celebration is an important part of any kind of change initiative. How can you celebrate, provide you with a little bit of incentive? Finally, what's going to, so if there's no, if changing and making these changes has no impact or influence, then why are you doing it? So be clear, be really clear about what kind of impact, how changing the way you start your day would make, and what kind of influence that actually might have. You getting it? All right, so let's try another example. So I'm gonna bet that we have all attended meetings where we wish we could have acted like this, or we have actually seen this sort of behavior in meetings, right? So what if you were to take the Make 3 Changes framework for a walk around the way you meet? Maybe we'll take a look at that example. So what are you feeling or experiencing now? Oh, I'm frustrated. I feel like my time is being wasted. This is a very typical complaint that people have when they go to meetings. They really, really dislike having their time wasted. They feel unprepared, and sometimes that's because you don't do the preparation necessary. You know, you go to the last meeting, you take the binder, you put it up on the shelf. The next meeting comes, you grab the binder, you run to the meeting, and then you look at your notes. And then there's underutilized. So the talents and strengths that you have aren't being utilized in the meeting, and sometimes that can be frustrating. So if that's what you're feeling now, the next question is to ask, what do I want or experience? I want to feel prepared. I want to feel like this meeting is productive. I want to feel energized. What's the point of gathering a whole bunch of smart people in the room if we can't energize each other and really come up with some good ideas and move forward? I feel connected. Ever gone into a meeting and I think we used to call it the BlackBerry prayer. Of course, now I guess it's an iPhone prayer. Not many BlackBerries left, or an Android prayer. Everybody looking down at their stuff or typing on their notes, but I want to feel connected when I'm in a meeting. So what am I going to do about that? And I also want to feel like I'm making a contribution. Nobody likes to go to a meeting and just sit there and not be leveraged or utilized. So if I know what I'm feeling now, I know what I want to experience, my next question is then, what do I need? And so for me, it might be I need a plan. I need a meeting plan. So what am I going to do before, during, and after my meeting to be able to make sure that I'm making the most of my time and I'm moving closer to what I say I want? I need some advance notice. You ever get called in at the last minute for a meeting and feel completely unprepared? So that might involve having a conversation with some other folks. Permission to say no to the meeting. That's a big one. Do I really need to be in the room, and how can I ask for permission to say no to those meetings that I know I don't have a place in? And then I might need the most recent information. Ever gone into a meeting and had something that's 3 hours old and there's new information and then you're left sort of feeling behind the curve? Nobody likes that. So, going a little deeper, what's likely to get in your way? All those other people, or what are you going to do? Are you going to schedule a little bit more time in your calendar before meetings or after meetings to be able to assimilate the information and take a few moments to take those action steps that you need to, or make some notes? How could you set yourself up for success? Could you have that difficult conversation you need to have with someone about that regular meeting that you no longer feel like you need to attend? What is it that you can do to make sure that you're going to be successful in moving forward and getting what you want? And then how will you celebrate? Maybe with a few extra hours on your hands, I think, could be the result of this, which is pretty nice as well. And then what will be different? When you feel like you're being leveraged and your talent is being used and your time isn't being wasted and that you're having an impact, you show up differently. You make different decisions, and that has great impact and influence on everybody around you and the organization as a whole. The old merger. So I do some individual coaching work, and I really love that work. I have a client right now who's facing a major merger, and I won't say that 5 times fast. And they set a pretty aggressive timeline. It's an international operation, and one of the things that became very clear was that she was not going to be in control of the amount of information she was going to be able to get in a way that was going to help her feel like was going to be able to be successful. So we did a lot of work around sort of her feelings with this. And again, moving through the framework, what am I feeling or experiencing now? She was really feeling insecure, a little panicked, a little overwhelmed, very confused, and very uncertain. As a leader of a global organization dealing with time and cultural differences and language barriers, and a big news like you're getting ready to be purchased and you have 3 months to be able to make the transition, that's a pretty overwhelming place to be. The next question, what do you want to feel or experience? Well, she wants to feel informed. She wants to feel confident. She wants to feel like she's aware of what her options are going to be. She wants to be helpful to her team and of service to the transition as a whole. Now, I can tell you that a leader, she's going to make much better decisions if she feels like she's in the ideal place as opposed to where she was when the information first came out. And what she felt like she needed was really information, time. She needed to get in front of it. She needed to explore options. And we came up with a great plan for her to create her worst case scenario plan. So all of that fear and anxiety could be channeled into a document. And then I said, you know, if any of that comes true, then you have a little bit of a plan on next steps and what you can do to move forward. What's likely to get in your way? Boy, a lot of that was just fear and anxiety and insecurity. Those impact the way you show up in the world, and certainly the way that you show up as a leader. How will you set yourself up for success? That question was pretty easy. It was really about being incredibly transparent and assessing her team's level of comfort, really understanding where they stood, how they felt, what they needed, and continuing the conversation even in the absence of new information to keep the conversation moving forward. How will you celebrate? She and the team came up with lots of different ways that they could celebrate some successes along the way, and making sure that they did so in small chunks, not just when it was all fun. And certainly what will be different for her and the team at the end of this transition is that they will have been far more connected to their strengths, to the challenges that they faced and how they decided to rise above them, and really what their options are in a global market. So we've taken the Make 3 Changes framework for a little walk through 3 situations that I think most people would find pretty common. So the way you start your day, attending meetings, and then a big major organizational change. So what I'd like to do is just recap the framework and remind you of the critical mindsets. Well, not critical, curious, right? But to remind you of those mindsets that are so important for you to be able to be your best during times of change. So be curious and not critical. Assume positive intent. Remember the magic question. This is great for other people, even your teenagers at home. A little tip. What would it look like if it worked? Is going to create a far more interesting conversation and even revealing than encouraging someone to tell you what's wrong. The quick start questions that can really help knock things loose for people and get them unstuck. What am I feeling or experiencing now? What do I want to feel or experience? And what do I need? And then really the accountability piece. What 3 changes am I willing to make? What am I willing to do every single day? And then being clear about what you're going to do to get in your own way, how you can set yourself up for success, how you'll celebrate, and what will be different as a result. Here are some of my favorite resources. Unstuck is an app, but you can also use it on the web. It's incredible. I encourage you to check it out. Who Moved My Cheese and Switch. And I believe that there are some resources that will be available to you after the webinar. There's a worksheet and there are some additional resources that you'll be able to tap into after this. And I would just welcome you to join the movement. You can join me at make3changes.com. I have a blog with weekly challenges and a monthly newsletter. I have a very active Facebook page and would love to see you there. And certainly if there is anything that I can help you with, I offer complimentary strategy sessions to make 3 changes of your own. Just email me at whitney@make3changes.com, and in the subject just put "I'm a rock star," because I know you are. Thank you so much. It was great to be with you today. I hope that you are going to have a great week, and if there's anything I can do to help you move forward, I look forward to it. Thanks to Mark and the Sparkspace team for having me, and rock on.
Thank you.